Hi, this is Saintus and welcome back to Forge of Empires. And today I'm going to be talking to you about the most important tool in this game, which is FoE Helper. Now, how do you obtain FoE Helper? First, it is a Chrome extension, so you need to go to the Chrome Web Store, research FoE Helper, and just click over here in the extension and click Install in this button that should be right here. After you've done that, it'll probably take you to this website of the FoE helper itself. It is in German, but you don't really need anything from this website in order to use it. Once you've done it, it should probably show you these tabs over here in the side. And this is only available for the desktop version. It's not available on Android, unfortunately. That would be very useful. But anyway, after that is installed, I don't know exactly the order of these things over here at the right, but I'm just going to go with ones I have in my setup. Anyway, starting off with the first one, which is statistics. This is the most interesting of the boxes, at least for me. Essentially, you have access to 5 different things. Those are your treasury, your guild treasury, your military, the rewards you've gained, and guild battlegrounds. Now with treasury, guild treasury, or your army, you can select either hourly or daily. This is something you can look at depending on your preferences. Either way, in each of these three, you can also range them by these 5 options over here, which is either all ages, my age, last 2, or no age. Even if you don't like the setup, you can change it over here by choosing which age you prefer. And after doing that, you can also turn on and off each of the parameters that you like. The same thing applies obviously for the clan's treasury. However, in this case, I believe in order for you to activate it, you need to go over here into the global tab and open the guild one. As for your army, this is one of the most useful features. In this case, it allows you to keep track of all your units, especially those that you really use. In my case, I have about 3 or 4 units, which are the artillery from the virtual future, both the heavy and light units of Space Age Mars, and also the range units from Space Age Asteroid Belt. This way you can see whether if you've been losing too many units or not, and whether if you should stop fighting. Anyway, moving on to the reward section. In this case, you can choose, as you can see, from either what you've earned today, since last Tuesday, which is when the guild expedition usually begins, also last 7 days, this month, last 30, or all. As for the different rewards, it's either from the guild expedition, guild battlegrounds, spoils of war, what you've earned in the event, and in this case is, for example, with the summer event, is what you've earned by spinning the wheel. And this will apply to any event that has this main feature of earning rewards. And also diplomatic gifts. I don't have the space carrier. I don't think I'll ever will. That's why I have this empty. But it will be the same as spoils of war. However, in order for you to have these statistics, you need to earn these rewards in the desktop version. Anything you earn in Android will not be taken into account, which is a bit of a shame. And finally, for guild battlegrounds, you can change this, by the way, either line, stream, or delta, which is the variation. This also requires you to go into the guild battlegrounds tab itself and click on this medallion or whatever over here in the top, which will grant you access to your member activity. And once you do that, first of all, this is because of FoE Helper, it'll open you this page over here, which will give you information of both negotiations and fights, plus the total amount of points earned by each of the members. But not only that, it will also highlight players who have recently earned points in green so that you can find, for example, some spies or anyone that's trying to hurt you the progress of your guild in Battlegrounds, which is something that has definitely happened. And this tool is very useful for us to identify those kind of people. And for example, I'm just going to fight over here one battle just to show you that this will turn green. So for example, if I just choose, let's say 8 sentinels, and I do an automatic battle, as you can see, I have won. And if I open, again, the medallion, it's highlighted in green and tells me exactly how many points I've earned and in which way. So that was the statistics portion of FoE Helper. Now the next square gives us information about the production output. You have information, for example, about forge points. In this case, I'll be earning 271 out of also 327. This takes into account the motivations that you have or not in your city. You also have information about coins, supplies, metals, even diamonds, which is a bit useful, plus people happiness and guild power, which I don't find that useful, plus the goods that you'll be donating to your guild treasury through your buildings, and also detailed information about how many goods you'll be earning and which kind of goods. Finally, you have this just overall view of everything. Moving on to the third box, which relates to settlements. In this case, if I go to my settlement, and I need to in order to have information, if I open this, it tells me exactly how many goods of each of the 4 usual goods of each settlement I will need in order to complete this. It also takes into consideration how many coins it will take me to produce each of those goods, normally without the 4 times bonus that sometimes you have, and also how many goods it will take for you to build the next expansion. As for the fourth square, in this case it is the grid building investment. If you open it, you have access to your own grid buildings, and depending on the bonus from the arc that you select over here, that your friends are expected to have, or the investors are expected to have, it'll tell you how many points you'll cost for you to, for example, in this case it is Cape Canaveral, it'll take for you to increase its daily output of forge points by 1. To see if, as you can see, if you have a 90%, in my case it'll be 227 forge points. The fifth box is also very useful. It tells you in this case how many incidents you are expected to have in your city at any given time. In my case I have no incidents, but if you have, it'll just show you how many, which type they are, meaning that whether they belong in the forest, in the water, or in the streets of your city, and exactly what incident it is that's on your city. And this will let you know whether if you can complete this type of mission that requires you to collect incidents. And moving on to the sixth box, in this case it regards technologies, and once again, in order for you to see it, you need to open your technologies box. In this case, it will tell you the exact cost of everything that you'll need to, in order to complete that age, and, well, in my case I mean Space Asteroid Belt, but if you're not, you can just click on this right button over here, and it will stack up the total cost of all the ages that you have selected. For example, in my case, you have 50 million coins, 155 million supplies, 1000 promethium, and more. Now for the seventh box, in my case it is a market filter. I hate it. It is one of the newest additions. I don't think it actually helps me at all. As you can see, you have an enormous list of all of the offers available. And what this does, this helps you to look for specific offers. For example, if I choose people who offer nanoparticles, you can see I have 3 offers, but in my opinion, this doesn't do anything different that the market itself does. But if you have this active and you open your market tab, as you can see, this just always, the market filter will cover it, and it's really annoying in my opinion. In order for you to get rid of it, you just go over here to the settings. It has the symbol of the supplies, and you'll go over here into boxes. You have market filter, and you will deactivate it in order for you to get rid of it, which is something I definitely recommend. And moving on to the next box, in this case it is notes. In order for you to make your own notes, you just need to create a new group. You'll put the group name, you just click the sorting, you'll save, and you'll be able to write things on it. Next, you have the forge point calculator for other people's great buildings, and this is a good tool for sniping. Now, this used to be amazing back in the day, however, in the games itself, considered it to be basically illegal. It gave an unfair advantage to people who had this, and I agree, to be honest, but it was really fun to have it. Anyway, in order for you to activate this, you need to click on the grid building tab of the player, and you have, for example, I'll just open the arc over here, and if I click on the forge point calculator, when taking into consideration the bonus return from the arc of everyone, in this case you should always go for 90%, and also taking into account your own bonus, in my case it's very weak, it's just 19%, it tells you how many forge points it'll cost to snipe first place, which is 732 here, and the profit that you'll have, which for me it's very bad. So in this case it tells you that you should not be trying to snipe for the first place. The next box will calculate the amount of forge points you'll require for you to secure each place, or for you to contribute yourself if it's your own building that you're talking about. For example, if I click here in my great buildings list and open the chateau, and over here open this tab, this box, it tells me that I'll just have to contribute with 7% if every other investor is expected to have a 90% ARC. The next box helps you with your campaign map. In my case, I've already conquered all of the provinces, so this isn't really that useful. But in order for you to see it, you need to open each of the provinces, and by clicking on this box, it'll give you an information of how many supplies and coins you will earn by conquering this entire province. The next app is also very useful. In this case, it shows you your city layout. You can adjust the zoom from 60 to 180% if you ever need that. It allows you to change the perspective. I don't find the Cavalier to be that useful. I always find standard to be really good. Essentially, this allows you to identify any mistakes you've made with the roads itself, which is one of the most common mistakes. Players will just use too many pieces of road and would essentially waste space that could have been used for event buildings, for example. As for the final boxes, in this case, this one regards your army, and for that you'll need to also open your army box that already comes inside the game. After doing that, you have an information about your attacking army, also your defensive army, plus your total army, basically how many of each of the specific units in this game that you have. For example, in my case, I have 58 of the artillery from Space Siege Asteroid Belt, and the most important one, how many units you'll be earning through your Alcatraz. Essentially, this allows you to organize and prepare yourself before you earn them. And now moving on to the most useful box, at least in my opinion, which is Negotiation Helper. In this case, all you need to do is to start a negotiation, and I'll do that over here in the Guild Expedition. If I click on to negotiate, it'll automatically show me this page over here, or this box, and it will tell you exactly what you need to select in order to have the best chances at finishing this negotiation. Now, obviously, I only have a 36% with this app, so it will not be that good. But anyway, the information is basically the average amount of each of the resources that you're expected to spend by the end of this negotiation according to the preferences and the information that you have obtained by negotiating here. So for example, if I just pick and select exactly what they ask me to, which is what you need to do in order for this app to work, if you fail to do that, the negotiation helper will just stop and will not continue. So as you can see, the chances have changed, and now tell me that I will not be spending any coins, and tells me that I'll be spending more supplies, for example. This is on average. If you don't know what these circles are over here, the first number regards the negotiator itself, so it'll be the first negotiator, then the second, third, and fourth, for example. And the one on the right regards the options, so it tells you to choose the seventh option. As you can see, supplies over here is the seventh option, then here's the fifth, and so on. So for example, if I just try and complete this negotiation, my chances or odds of winning this negotiation have dropped, and I really don't think that I'll manage to complete the negotiation. Okay, so apparently I did manage. Anyway, this is the best way for the young players to get to the high levels of Guild Expedition and Guild Battlegrounds without having an amazing army. Next, you have the settings for every helper itself. You have 4 tabs, and you can enable or disable each of the features that I've shown you before. Anyway, moving on to the info box or the information box over here. I've never seen this one work. I don't know why. I've just clicked through for it to show me every single one of these options, and I hope that the developers of FoE Helper just change this in a way that it actually works. Anyway, moving on to the last and final box of this, which shows you your kits, upgrades, and sets that you have in your inventory. For example, out of the Cherry Garden set I have 3 buildings plus one of the selection kits. As for Statue of Wonders I have 2 kits, and finally the Cider Mill I have just 1 upgrade. And so that was my review of FoE Helper in Forge of Empires. I hope you like it, and I'll see you next time.